Today, I will show you exactly how you can decrease your CPMs and increase your overall ROAS on all of your campaigns, and why CPMs are one of the most neglected, but still one of the most important metrics in your entire advertising campaign. So just after this video, I'm telling you, I'm promising you, you can go out there and instantly see a better ROAS after implementing what I'm teaching you. Now look, basically, I will show you exactly how to decrease your CPM through different methods. And I will show you why I personally had such big and huge struggles with CPMs in my advertising history, where everything that I'm putting down in this video is my full conviction because I've tested it. Okay, I've done it. I know exactly what works. I didn't listen to the common advice out there. I just took what worked for me and put it in this video, okay? And if you're currently running a coaching or a high-ticket business, you're running ads, you're struggling with high CPMs, maybe you don't even know what a CPM is, but this video caught your attention, then listen up, okay? Because I will show you exactly how you can scale by decreasing your CPMs. So a CPM, what is it, right? A CPM. CPM means cost per milli. It's the price that you pay for eyeballs, the price that you pay for attention. So how much you pay to get in front of 1,000 eyeballs. So how much you pay to get in front of 1,000 people who see your ad on Facebook or on Instagram. Okay, then you can have a cost per milli for Instagram. You can have a cost per milli for Facebook. What I generally see is that the cost per milli for Instagram is quite low compared to Facebook. Okay, so this could already mean maybe just place your ads on Instagram. Okay, now your cost per milli, when it gets too high, everything will be more expensive. So what I see so much in the past with clients is the clients are fully focused on cost per lead, cost per call, cost per result, whatever you're optimizing for. Okay, however, they don't keep in mind that the cost per milli in many cases is causing, so it's the main root cause of a higher cost per result. Okay, simply because a higher cost per milli, as we can see in this equation over here, like when the cost per milli goes up, right? When it goes up, what happens? And the click-through rate stays the exact same. What will happen? Your cost per click will go up because the cost per milli goes up. They correlate to each other, okay? So what is a cost per click? A cost per click is how expensive it is for someone to click on your ad, click the link on your ad, hopefully the right link, because you do not want to have all this bunch of side links on your ads. You want to have one link, okay? Turn off all the AI bullshit and just go with the side links. And then when the cost per click, when the CPM goes up, the cost per click goes up. So you're paying more to drive traffic to your landing page. Makes sense because your cost per click is more expensive because your CPM is more expensive. Now, when the cost per click is more expensive, what separates the cost per click from the cost per lead or cost per registration or cost per call is just your landing page conversion rate, your landing page load rate, which should generally be fixed if you're not hosting them on some weird providers. And basically, most importantly, your landing page conversion rate. Now, this is the only thing that separates a cost per click from a cost per result. So meaning when your CPM goes up, it's a main issue for your cost per lead, okay? Because everything will get more expensive. And lastly, obviously, the most important cost, the cost per new acquired customer. Now, in the past, I've managed to get our CPMs at around $40 to $50 consistently, okay? Our CPMs right now are at $40 to $50, as you can see over here, okay? And which is exactly where it should be, okay? I've figured out a sweet spot is generally something between $40 to $50. However, you will understand that in your case, maybe it might be different depending on the niche you're in, okay? And this was one of the main reasons how I managed to generate over $440,000 in the past with paid ads for my clients. Some clients over here, as you can see, some dashboards. This is what we generated in 1 week through quite low CPMs for one webinar campaign. Another client that we're scaling, some checkout pages, right? So basically, how do you decrease your cost per leads? This is exactly what you're going to learn in this video. So one big thing is audience size. You need to understand that your CPMs monitor your overall audience competition and your audience size. This is why I said just a minute ago that your CPMs will depend on the niche that you're in. For example, there are niches such as the trading niche where you know, for sake of practice, that the CPMs in this niche are higher compared to, for example, the AI niche, right? Or AI automation. So in a narrow audience, what will happen in a narrow audience, the narrower your audience is and the more competition there is, the higher your CPMs will be because there's less space, right? It's so simple. I mean, just think about it like this. This is a room, okay? This is an advertising space and this is an advertising space. Now, CPMs here will be lower because there's more space, and CPMs here will be higher. Now, what happens? The more competition there is in this room. So let's say these are all advertisers, okay? These are all advertisers. Some of them are big fishes, other not, okay? Now, the more competition there is, the less space there will be left for you and the higher your CPMs will be. For example, if here would be a lot of competition with some big advertisers in there, I do not care that much because the room is bigger, okay? You understand? So there must be proportionally way more advertisers for this room to have the exact same CPM as this one, but for the sake of its size, it won't have. Meaning a bigger audience, a broader audience, okay, with less advertisers, relatively, will get you a lower CPM, okay? And this is also true for retargeting campaigns. So when you're doing retargeting, what happens is, yeah, you're interacting with leads who already touched your profile, but Meta does automatic retargeting anyways. And when you do automatic retargeting, you will basically artificially inflate the cost per result in the CPMs because you're targeting a narrow audience. Retargeting, let's say, this is the room of all of your Instagram followers, and you're just retargeting this one, but you could actually, with your messaging, and we're going to talk about messaging in a second, target this entire room, right? Which is why your CPMs will be more expensive, right? Now, with the post Andromeda update, here's such a massive hack that I'm going to lay down right now, right? Basically, the post Andromeda update turned messaging to your new targeting. So when let's say this is my audience, okay, and when I go with, for example, I'm targeting people who are already selling on Amazon, so something like, oh, if you're already selling on Amazon, you're doing XYZ, okay, then I will get this audience. I will only be able to target this room of customers. Now, when I say something like, oh, if you're already working a corporate job, then I will be able to target this audience, which is obviously a bigger, and which has a bigger room, and so on, right? So your messaging determines your targeting. Now, what happens is that you can have majority hooks and you can have minority hooks. So you can have ads that talk to kind of a majority by the way they are built, and ads that go something like, if you're already selling a product for around 8% ROAS on Amazon, you're using your garage as a warehouse, and you're looking for a way to scale with AI software, do you see how minority this stuff is? Okay, you will target a more narrow audience, okay? And what will happen, what did we just talk about? In a more narrow audience with a lot of advertisers, your CPMs will be higher. So your CPMs will generally be higher if you go with minority hooks. But if you go with a broader hook and a broader messaging, your CPMs, because you're targeting a broader room, will be lower. So your hooks and your overall ad messaging determines your CPMs. That's why when you go this very strong in-market messaging for one specific persona, this will be very specific because there aren't that many people that resonate with this messaging. That's also why if you are this, then you are that hooks are very more expensive because they target a narrow group directly, okay? Now, we broadened, this is what just happened recently, like 1 or 2 months ago, we broadened our messaging. So what I did was I thought about this, okay? And I was like, man, it can't be that our CPMs are so high. It made no sense. I saw CPMs were at around 70 to 80, right? And I was like, what's the reason for that? Okay, we were in the e-commerce space, which is actually where CPMs aren't that high. But what happened is I thought about our messaging, and our messaging was very in this kind of pocket audience. So you're currently using your garage as a warehouse or something like, so you're you're currently making 5 to 10K a month with your Amazon business, selling XYZ products, and you're looking for a way to scale. Very, very, very narrow messaging. So what I did, I broadened the messaging through ads that could speak to various people, to people already sold on Amazon, to people who haven't started yet, to people who are still more in market, who still sold on the idea and who have a higher intent and are qualified. But I didn't go so much into one group with one ad, right? So for example, if finding the right product to sell on Amazon feels like finding a needle in a haystack right now, then listen up. This was one minority hook that I had before. Obviously, this would only target people who are currently starting with product research on Amazon. I went to something like, if I could go back to 2017 after generating $17 million on Amazon, here are the two big things that I would do differently. First of all, can you see how different these ads feel? This one feels way more native. And it will obviously target nearly everyone who's kind of heard about Amazon before. Okay. And then I qualify them later with some financial qualifiers. But this way, just through this hook that I'm choosing, I'm paying less to get in front of 1,000 users. And what I'm doing as well is I'm promoting positive user experience. Look, this is from Meta's website. So Meta says, ads be delivered to people in their free from pages or content they don't follow. They don't follow, okay? We want to help ensure that the ads don't detract from the overall experience across our technologies. For that reason, we prohibit ads containing shocking, sensational, or excessively violent content, certain adult content, and profanity. We also prohibit other objectionable materials such as content implying or attempting to generate narratives, self-perception, and so on, and so on, so on. So what Meta wants to do is they want to promote positive user experience. Now, if I go with an ad like this, for example, or what I see a lot of you guys do out there, okay, so you're currently working a good corporate job, you're earning $80,000 to $100,000 a month, you're missing time with your family, you're coming home exhausted, you're doing XYZ. What kind of ad is this, right? I've been doing these ads earlier. These ads are so, first of all, they're obviously minority. They only resonate with people who are fucked, who are, I don't want to swear too much on YouTube, who are a bit, let's say desperate about the corporate job. And on top of that, this ad doesn't integrate at all with what these guys normally see on Instagram. They scroll around, see cool reels, see educational stuff, learn something, okay, get some entertainment. So what I do is I go with ads that go something like, if I could go back to 2017, I tried every Amazon model, so you don't have to. And here's exactly what I learned. And then at the end, I transition. I don't start the ad. If you're tired of scaling your Amazon business, okay? Or something like, I do an educational ad. Here's how to place your first order. We're still working full time. This is an ad, but after, maybe I got to record a video on where I show you exactly how to do this. But after this hook, what happens, I will then transition into the main body, which will be the pitch. Now, the lower CPMs will be exactly. The more native your ads feels, the lower your CPMs will be, because Meta rewards a positive user experience. Now, audience size isn't the only thing that helps you decrease your CPMs. By the way, if you like what you're seeing, ads is everything I do, right? Okay, ads, funnels, marketing, every single thing, scaling your coaching business to multiple 6 figures a month, which is exactly what we're doing for our clients. So feel free to reach out to me on simon.asma on Instagram or growinginfo.com to book on a free strategy call with me. And we can see how we can implement all of the stuff for you right now, because it's getting a bit technical here, right? Getting a bit advanced. However, here are signals. So signals is the language of the Meta AI that is trying to communicate to you. Okay, so through actions on the campaign level, you can lower or you can increase the CPMs by giving the right signals. So use CPMs, and as a result, your cost per results will go up depending on what you do. So let's say what happens is your CPMs go up and your results go up, okay? What do you want to do? Do you want to lower the spend of the campaign, the daily spend? Do you want to keep the spend equal, or do you want to increase the spend? What do you want to do? Okay, this happens a lot. You log in your ads manager, you see your CPMs are too high, you see your cost per results. This is the first thing that you will notice. Are too high, are increasing by around, let's say they jumped from $8 cost per lead to $15 cost per lead if you're running a webinar campaign. What do you want to do? Lower the spend, keep the spend equal, or increase the spend? What you will do after this event is what the Meta AI understands, okay? So be very careful about your actions. Let's say you're keeping the spend equal. You're doing nothing. That means you're fine with higher CPMs, right? CPMs go up, I don't do nothing. Meta AI thinks, okay, this guy's doing nothing, so I will stay in this exact same auction price range for this auctions, and I will participate in this auctions for this price that I'm currently participating in because nothing changed. Okay. Now, let's say you're increasing the spend. This means you incentivize higher auction prices because Meta AI understands, as a result, by the way, your CPMs and your cost per results will increase even further because Meta AI thinks, all right, CPMs just went up, cost per results just went up. This guy is even spending $200 more this day, meaning he actually wants me to participate in this auctions, meaning he's okay, he's very fine with participating in more expensive stuff. He just wants to spend, okay, I will spend for him, and I will also burn his money on some auctions that are worth a lot, that are way more expensive, right? Now, what happens if you lower the spend? When you lower the spend, and I've done this so many times, it works every single time, okay? It works every single time. Try it out right now. When you lower the spend, I'm not talking about lowering it too much. I'm lowering it generally around 10%. When you're lowering the spend, you tell the AI you're not okay with participating in more expensive auctions. And then your CPMs will go down. It's like a dog. You're talking to him, okay? I'm slapping him, and I'm telling him, no, I'm not okay with the CPMs going too high and with my cost per results being there. Turn them down a bit. And this is why I won't spend too much. This is a main reason why you shouldn't scale without cost caps, because when we're thinking about scaling, where we want to scale around 10% per day, 20% a day, which is very recommendable for ad campaigns, we do not want to scale without a cost cap. So cost cap is something that holds your cost equal. So let's say my cost cap is something like $8 cost per lead, okay? Now I'm paying around, this is $10, this is $6. What will happen? My cost per results will fluctuate around this cost cap. It will hold it stable, and as a result, also my CPMs, okay? So your cost cap makes your CPR and your CPMs fluctuate around benchmark. If your cost cap is $8, Meta will only participate in auctions that get your CPL between circa $6 to $10. Okay, this can vary, but generally tries to hold it there. Now, cost caps protect your CPMs and your cost per results while scaling, because when I scale, I'm telling Meta actively do not participate in higher auctions, so do not increase my cost per millis and do not increase my cost per leads, right? This is a main reason why you should always scale with a cost cap when you're scaling, and why you should scale progressively. So you want to scale around 10% a day, okay? 10% a day, 10% a day, 10% a day, 10% a day. Compared to, I want to put on like 1K every single day and scale aggressively, this will skyrocket your CPMs, okay? Now, scale progressively and scale with a cost cap in there, and this is exactly how you communicate to the Meta AI through signals, okay? Now, another big thing is warm-up. So basically lead in intent and lead level. Now, in the past, I'm telling you, we always saw the exact same thing happen. And this is exactly what happened not only to us, but to dozens of other consulting clients afterwards. So the first 2 to 4 weeks of running ads were extremely profitable. We're talking about a 4 to 8x euros on our campaigns, okay? Everywhere, like around different client accounts. What happened? First 2 to 4 weeks were extremely profitable. And then suddenly what happened for every single client, okay, without creative fatigue, because we were still, the ad creatives were still getting quite a good cost click-through rate. And creative fatigue wasn't the problem. We were changing ads as well without wearing their messaging too much. What happened? Our CPMs suddenly began to increase, okay? And as a result, our ROAS tanked. Even went down. So what happened is, the reason was, and I figured this out weeks after it happened, is we were running out of warmed up prospects who already had interacted with our profile in the past. So when you think about it, all of these profiles had some Instagram account connect. They weren't the biggest Instagram accounts, so right, 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, okay? But they still had people who had interacted with their Instagram account for years, right? And obviously what Meta does is it will optimize for the lowest cost per result. So it will calculate the probability, and then we'll go after leads who will probably get it the lowest cost per result, right? And based on their data points, based on their interactions in the past. And what happens when someone interacts with your profile, watch your reel, obviously he will be more likely to convert because he already knows you. And you also pay less to get in front of him again when he's already interacted with your profile, right? Now, what happens is we only had so many warm leads, right? So these were all of our warm leads. And then we are running out of these warm leads because we're already converting all of them through earlier campaigns. And then Meta switched into the completely cold bucket. Okay. We were just going broad, but broad not always means completely cold if you're not excluding your warm audiences. So we went in the cold bucket, and as a result, all of our costs skyrocketed because these leads didn't know us, they haven't ever interacted with us. We paid more to get in front of them, right? Now, what you can do then, and this exactly what we did, okay, is the Forrester strategy. So you want to build a cycle bin, a content cycle bin that is just designed to get in front of as many people as possible. And your ad should be very top of funnel content, okay? Just making people more or less aware of what you're doing, more or less introduce yourself. You can introduce the founder story, kind of introduce what you're doing right now. Okay, maybe even a testimonial. That testimonials are more bottom of funnel, but you can design them in a way that they are top of funnel. Okay, now and then you want to have around 9 to 12 different content pieces that you then run an engagement campaign for, where you optimize for through plays, so cost per through play. And cost per through play is for me right now at around $2. Okay, I'm paying $2 for one through play. Yeah, for our clients. $2 for one through play. Through play means people who watch the entire video, and if it's longer than 15 seconds, people who watch at least 15 seconds of this video. And then you optimize and introduce with an engagement campaign. You go broad, and you want to create one ad set per different content piece, and then cycle through them through an audience exclusion. Meaning, if someone has watched already. Now, what actually happens is your frequency won't be too high anyways, so you will be cycling through. What Meta will do if you go with CBO over here, what you should do is Meta will automatically not show your ads to everyone twice, but basically you want to have an audience exclusion anyway. So if someone has watched at least, let's say 3 seconds of this video, you won't see it again, and so on, and so on, and so on. And then if someone has watched at least 10 seconds of this first videos, okay, meaning more or less a through play, you want to target them with a second content cycle bin, which is then more like educational, more deeper, middle of funnel content, where you actually lay down something, where you're speaking on a stage, where you explain the business model, where you even come with a testimonial and so on. So more trust building content, more authority building content, and educational content. And you just want to retarget them. So you want to select, again, exactly the same thing, one ad set per ad, audience exclusion, right? And so people who've watched at least 3 seconds of this ad, for example, here will be excluded from this ad set. This ad is in. And then you want to select the audience of, you want to basically take all of the people who've watched any of these videos together, right? Put them in one custom audience, and then retarget this audience with this content cycle bin, okay? And then, this happens consistently. So you're getting new leads in your ecosystem with this one, and then you're nurturing them consistently, keeping content in front of them consistently, right? Now, what happens is you want to run your direct response campaign as well. So direct response ads with these exact ads that we were talking about before, for your webinar, for your VSL, will then target people who watch at least 10 seconds of the first video and who are currently getting nurtured by the content cycle bin number 2. And this way, you're basically targeting leads who are already warmed up, who already interacted with your profile, and your overall CPMs will be lower. And you do not even have to do retargeting for this, okay? You can also run a broad campaign, and Meta, by sake, okay, will basically, because it's by default, because it's designed this way, will directly target leads who interacted with you and who came from the Forrester. However, it's more precise to do it with this retargeting. And this is exactly how you can lower your CPMs through warm-ups, basically, through warmer leads, through signals, and through audience sizes, through basically choosing the right hook and the right messaging. Okay, and this is exactly how we get our CPMs to around $40 to $50 right now, and how I've generated over $430,000 with ads. Now, again, if you want us guys to implement this exact thing for you, not only the ad strategy, but also obviously writing the ad, setting up the pixel, designing the entire funnel, making sure it's aligned, the landing pages, the emails, writing every single word of copy by hand, because this is what we do. Designing the webinars, the funnels, even managing the sales team, automating your onboarding process, every single thing that is connected to scaling your coaching business. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at simon.asman or book in a free strategy call with me at growinginfo.com. And if you like what you've seen, if you are new to this channel, you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe. Scaling your coaching business is everything we talk about here. Okay. And yeah, if you're already subscribed, leave me a like, man. I'm going to be back soon with a very massive banger. Take care.